Hi, I'm Susan Keefe from Rhubarb and Cod, and today I'm making caprese focaccia. This caprese focaccia delivers exactly what it promises. Classic focaccia studded with the basic components of a caprese salad: tomato, mozzarella, and fresh basil. The result is a perfectly shareable, patio-friendly starter that pairs well with your favorite rosé. Sorry. Now, if you have a phobia of yeasted baking projects, I totally get it, but don't worry. Focaccia is fairly straightforward. In fact, if you've never made any kind of bread before, this is a very gentle place to start. So let's get into it. We're gonna start by blooming our yeast. If you're using active dry yeast, you have to introduce it to lukewarm water in order to activate it. You can use instant yeast in its place, but if you do, skip the blooming, it doesn't need it. And incidentally, quick rise and rapid rise yeast. Rapid rise and quick rise, eh? Sorry, I can't do that voice. Rapid rise and quick, it's like a tongue twister. And incidentally, rapid rise and quick rise yeast both qualify as instant yeast and don't require blooming. And one more thing, you can use starter in place of yeast if you're currently nurturing one. A quick rule for swapping starter for yeast is every 1 cup of starter will give you the equivalent of 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. That's one of those little packets. Okay, enough about leavening agents, let's start blooming. Sprinkle 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast over the surface of 1 3/4 cups of water. You want the water to be lukewarm, like a cup of tea you forgot about. Let sit for 10 minutes or until the yeast is foamy. Then pour the water and yeast mixture into the bowl of a stand mixer fitted with a hook attachment. Add a tablespoon of honey, 2 teaspoons of salt, and 1 1/2 cups of AP flour. Set the mixer to medium-low and mix until all the ingredients are well integrated. Stop the mixer and add another cup of flour and mix until well integrated, scraping down the sides of the bowl occasionally. From here, you want to add your flour slowly in 1/4 cup increments. This is to guard against a dry dough. You can add flour to a dough fairly easily, but integrating liquid into a dough takes longer, and frankly, it makes me stressed. Only add enough flour to get your dough to a place where it readily cleans the sides of the bowl and is tacky but not sticky. I prefer to switch to hand kneading at this point. The dough will feel loose, but you can knead a little bit more flour into it by hand. I find interacting with the dough in a tactile way allows me to judge when I've reached the moisture balance I'm looking for. I usually knead the dough for 7 to 8 minutes or until it feels elastic and smooth to the touch. Once your dough is where you want it, form it into a ball and transfer it to a bowl greased with olive oil. Cover and let rise in a warm place for an hour and a half or until doubled in size. Technically, room temperature is a warm enough place, but yeast will double its fermentation rate with every increase of 8 degrees Celsius. Whatever you do, don't put your dough in a low 150-degree Fahrenheit oven. The killing point of yeast is 140 degrees Fahrenheit. If you don't have a proofing drawer or your home isn't particularly cozy, don't despair. Your focaccia will take longer to rise, but lengthier rising times actually enhance a bread's overall flavor. When your dough is proofed, stretch it into a rough rectangle and transfer it to a 9 by 13-inch baking pan, greased with olive oil. Cover the dough and let rise once again. You can start preheating the oven to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. The dough is ready to bake when it readily fills each corner of the baking pan. The second rise could take anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. Once the dough is ready for the oven, use your fingers to create a series of dimples across the dough's surface. Then take your grape tomatoes and bocconcini and press them into the dough in an alternating, evenly spaced pattern. Once every tomato and bocconcini is where it should be, finish the dough with a couple of glugs of olive oil and a sprinkling of salt. Place the focaccia in the oven and bake for 25 to 30 minutes or until golden. When the focaccia is ready, let it cool in the pan for 10 minutes before transferring to a cooling rack. Let it cool for another 15 minutes before covering with fresh basil and serving with olive oil and balsamic on the side for dipping. And that's it. The best part of making this focaccia is it walks you through the basic steps associated with making a yeasted dough. You can take what you learned here and apply it to everything from baguettes to bagels. I hope you guys enjoy the focaccia, and if you do make it, let me know how it went in the comments below. And if you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you have any requests for future videos, feel free to DM me on Instagram. My profile is linked below. Thank you guys for watching, and happy baking!